Welcome, everyone. I see folks showing up in the link that you have shown up at Rainforest Action Network's virtual rally. As people are coming in, please drop your name and where you're calling in from into the chat. And throughout the evening, we'll be monitoring the chat. And you can also use the chat to ask any questions you may have in the Q&A link. But I just really want to welcome all of you here. My name is Ginger Cassady. I am the Executive Director of Rainforest Action Network. I use she, her pronouns. I'm currently calling in from Sausalito, California, which is unceded Coast Miwok territory. And I welcome you all tonight to our virtual rally. As many of you know, Rainforest Action Network works to preserve forests, protect the climate, and uphold human rights. And we do that by challenging some of the biggest banks like Chase, some of the largest insurance companies like Liberty Mutual, as well as going after some of the biggest brands like Procter and Gamble. And what we do is we try to move these corporations to not only improve their policies, their transparency, the way that they're regulated across the corporate sector. And we do this by running really hard-hitting, multifaceted, huge, impactful campaigns. So tonight, we welcome you all. You're going to get to hear from some of our amazing campaigners and organizers who make this work possible. And you are also going to get to join in and participate on how we're going to challenge some of these big corporations. Because we know it takes all of us if we are going to keep fossil fuels in the ground and keep forests standing, and at the same time, uphold the rights of Indigenous communities around the world. And so tonight, we're going to be escalating some pressure against Procter & Gamble, one of our main corporate targets in our Keep the Forest Standing campaign. Just last week, our partners in Indonesia did a powerful action, which we sent basically a direct message to Procter & Gamble, which we took to their annual shareholder meeting in Cincinnati just last week. So let's take you there to show you this amazing action.
Peace, everyone. My name is Daniel Carrillo, and I am the Forest Campaigns Director. I'm calling from Chumash and Tongva land in what's called Los Angeles, California. What you just saw was part of our ongoing campaign to keep forests standing. The campaign pressures companies like Procter & Gamble to end deforestation and human rights abuses. But why Procter & Gamble? Well, they're one of the world's largest corporations, yet they continue to buy commodities from companies that we have proven to be destroying Indonesian forests and communities, all in the name of quick profits. They put profit over people and planet to produce products that we see in our supermarket shelves, like Charmin, Pampers, Head and Shoulders. But how do we know for sure Procter & Gamble is responsible for this? Well, we do extensive research. We've shown the direct connection between Procter & Gamble, their palm oil suppliers, and destruction of a naturally protected rainforest in the Loser ecosystem. We've provided the leadership at Procter & Gamble with all this hard evidence, yet they have refused to listen. So that's why we took action in Indonesia and in Cincinnati. But how do we put off such amazing, powerful actions? Well, I want to introduce one of the people behind the action that you just saw, RAND's organizing strategist, Sharmishta.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarmishta. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns. And I'm based on traditional Lenape and Wappinger lands in Washington Heights, New York City. As an organizer, my job at RAN is to connect with people in frontline communities who care about our planet and our future and build these collective actions to move some of our most critical industries in this climate fight. So last week, as Danielle said, I visited Cincinnati, Ohio, along with a whole crew of RAND staff, and we co-organized a direct action against Procter & Gamble with the local Cincinnati community, descendants of both the Procter and Gamble families, and of course, in deep solidarity with frontline Indigenous communities in Indonesia. And so to go a little bit behind the scenes about how RAND pulls off actions like this, it takes months of preparation, just like any other large project. We start by connecting and building with the local team, ensuring that we have adequate training and resources to get folks the skills they need to carry out an action successfully. At the same time, we're also coordinating with our partners in Indonesia, the frontline Indigenous communities whose lands, way of life, and culture is what's at stake here, who've already seen their forests desecrated and their community members criminalized for defending their lands. We decided on a location, in this case, the P&G headquarters in Cincinnati, and we also decide on our visuals, messaging, and work with some awesome art activists to create the banners you saw in the video, and several other placards, posters, and so on. Every RAN action that we do places a huge priority on safety and peaceful actions. No matter how bold we go and how big we dream, we ensure that everyone is safe and taken care of, that they have a backup plan, and they know who their support team is. If the action involves a highly technical skill, like the climbing that you saw in this video, we make sure that we have expert trainers to support our climbers. And if we expect there to be arrests, which isn't always the case, we plan for this and we make sure that everyone gets released as soon as possible, and that they have the food, medicine, legal resources, and emotional support that they need to go the whole way through. We also work to make sure that we get strong media coverage on our actions, and we often turn to local media outlets and press in the cities where the executives of these corporations live, and we pitch stories here to move the conversation around these human rights issues. We not only focus on traditional media, but we also have a really awesome social media team on the ground at every action to share videos, stories, live streams, and more. And finally, we use our tactical expertise to create and execute the perfect action plan. What you see in these photos and videos is actually the final result. But to get there, we had an entire scheme in place. For the action that we just pulled off in Cincinnati, we had 2 diversion teams deployed to keep the security and police distracted, while our climbers and support team deployed ladders to get our climbers safely onto the flagpoles for them to start moving up and get the banner ready. So from deciding on a location to coordinating with the front lines to building local partnerships, safety and tactical expertise, our actions really do cover the full breadth of work in order to move these massive corporations. And so with that behind the scenes perspective, I'm now going to turn it over to another video featuring some of our key partners in Indonesia who we are supporting in their fight for their rights, land, and their very existence. This video also features my good friend and colleague, Fitri Arianti, RAN's senior forest campaigner who is currently based in Manchester, England. Here's the video.
My name is Fitri Arianti. I'm a senior campaigner at Rainforest Action Network. Rainforest Action Network has worked closely with Indigenous-led and frontline community groups in Indonesia for over a decade. We know that Indigenous and local communities are disproportionately impacted by climate change, despite contributing the least to the problem. Working with and alongside these communities is not only a core part of RAND's strategy, it is absolutely necessary. We cannot imagine a solution to climate change or arrive at one without these impacted communities sitting at the table. And that takes years of building trust, building authentic relationships, and building solutions together.
Membentuk hutan desa karena hindi DPT, Bang. Penebangan liar dan illegal logging.
Hutan adalah sumber rezeki kami di sini. Karena kan kalau kita menjaga hutan kan menghasilkan juga untuk masyarakat kita nih. Jadi kalau dirusak kan hutan, ibaratnya kan kita merusak sendiri, sumber rezeki sendiri gitu.
PT Toba Pak Lestari merupakan perusahaan pulp and paper milik Taipan Soekarjo Tanoto. PT TPL merupakan anak perusahaan dari Raja Garuda Mas atau yang dikenal dengan Royal Golden Eagle. Selain bergerak dalam sektor hutan tanaman industri, juga bergerak dalam sektor perkebunan sawit. Perusahaan ini banyak mensuplai perusahaan-perusahaan global seperti P&G.
Our partners, like the Pargamanan Bintang Maria community, know that we are with them in their fight for indigenous land rights, for forest, and for the future of their children. They are central to our campaigns. Deep partnership with frontline community groups is what it takes to create change on the ground, to stop deforestation, and to defend the rights of communities who are under attack. That's how we can stop companies who are sowing division, who are stealing land, who are clearing protected forest, and who are turning a blind eye to worker exploitation and other human rights abuses, all in the name of profit. We need to support those who have been protecting the forest and fighting for their way of life for generations. That's how we will make change.
Wow, what an inspiring video. And so thanks for those updates, Danielle, Sarmishta, and Fitri. And that's why our work is so critical here at Rainforest Action Network, is we're trying to send messages from our partners on the front lines to the corporate boardrooms at their annual shareholder meetings. And right now, we are currently escalating this really important campaign within our Keep Our Forest Standing campaign against Procter Gamble. So that's where you all come in. And so tonight, we are actually going to pressure Procter & Gamble. So I'm going to introduce Ethan Ness, our senior strategist on our organizing team, who's going to help us do that. Over to you, Ethan.
Thanks, Ginger. Again, I'm Ethan. I'm based in Dakota Territory in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And as Ginger mentioned, I'm on RAND's organizing team. And so I have the distinct privilege of organizing and mobilizing people for action against some of these biggest corporations. And as we like to say at Rainforest Action Network, action is our middle name. And so with this virtual rally, we wouldn't just leave you without taking some kind of action together. So tonight we have devised a very easy and accessible action for whether you're a hard-bitten activist who's taken many actions before, or you're just a beginner. This is maybe your first introduction to RAN and our work. Wherever you fall on that spectrum, tonight's action is designed for you, and so we can all have a collective impact together. So taking action against the drivers of climate chaos is really one of our key strategies at RAN. When we say challenge corporate power, we mean that. We believe that by taking your voice and amplifying the voices of our partners that you saw in that video, we can have a direct impact on those that have the ability to change the situation and address some of these crises. And as you've heard, Procter & Gamble is a major corporate laggard in this fight. Until P&G severs its relationship with Royal Golden Eagle and other of its dirty suppliers, they're effectively supporting Indigenous land theft, the use of threats of violence, and the clear cutting of rainforests. And we're not going to stand for it. So tonight, we're all going to get together and we're going to call their executives and let them know directly that they need to stop these atrocities. We'll call 4 executives in total. And part of this is getting back to our belief that when doing anti-corporate campaigning, sometimes corporations feel like this big monolith and there's really no way to move them. But through our many decades of experience, we know that corporations are run by people, and that if we can mobilize enough people to speak to those people that hold those positions in a very personal way and with a direct, clear message, we can shift their corporate policies and those practices that are devastating the lives of people on the front lines. Luckily, we've prepared everything for you, just like in some of those action videos you just saw that Sarmishta talked about, of all of those steps in preparation that we go through for an action. For our, like a big banner action like the one on your screen, for smaller actions, we also do a lot of the same prep. And so our researchers have found the direct numbers to 4 of P&G's top executives, and we haven't released them publicly until tonight, when we're all able to help flood their phone lines together. So tonight's action going to be in 3 very easy steps, and we'll get to those in a little bit, but I just want to give you a quick overview. First, you're going to dial the numbers. Second, we have a script for you to read. And third, tell us how it went. Those 3 steps, really that simple. So we're inviting everyone tonight to join in and help flood the phone lines of these executives with our demand. But before we jump right into action, let's meet the executives. Drum roll, please. So here at RAN, we like to have a little bit of fun because we're tackling very serious issues. And so to help bring some levity to that, we created some dating profiles for the executives that you'll be calling tonight. We actually did this several years ago for one of our corporate targets. I believe it was PepsiCo for Valentine's Day, put them on our social media, and everyone really loved them. It was a big hit. So we're bringing it back tonight with introducing you to the 4 P&G execs we'll be calling. So first, I'd like to introduce you to Jennifer Davis. She's 52. She's the CEO of healthcare at Procter & Gamble. And Jen runs P&G's multi-billion-dollar global healthcare business. That's billion with a B. Her unit oversees production of rainforest destroying disposable products like Crest toothpaste. Nice to meet you, Ms. Davis. And next is Monica Turner, age 58, the president of North America at P&G. Monica oversees Procter & Gamble's North American business, which accounts for nearly half of its net sales, or a staggering $40 billion a year. That's 40 billion of planetary destruction every year. Let's meet our last 2 executives. Susan Whaley, age 48, is the chief legal officer and secretary at P&G. CEO John Mueller describes Susan as an excellent lawyer, truly the one you want to call when you commit grave planetary crimes. When not playing fixer to planetary chaos, she loves injecting money into politics as a board member of P&G's right-leaning PAC. And last but not least, Damon Jones, Chief Communications Officer at P&G. Damon has his work cut out for him as chief spin artist for a global company with a terrible environmental record. In 2017, he claimed, quote, "We do not participate in any deforestation practices." Huh, that's news to us. So thanks for bearing with us and just getting a little bit of fun as you meet the executives. And we felt it was important for you to know who you're calling and a little bit of their biography, and just to show you how your call tonight can make an impact on these people that are making decisions about our planet, our future, and how their policies will impact Indigenous communities in Indonesia. So, time for action. Let's jump right in. So, again, tonight everything you need to take action tonight is right here on this slide. we have the 4 executives and their phone numbers, and those 3 steps I talked about earlier. 1, we'll just start, dial one of the numbers. 2, read the script, very straightforward. Feel free to change it, adapt it if you would like. And then 3, you report back and let us know how your calls went. We're encouraging you to call all 4 of them if possible. So you would repeat steps 1 and 2, dial the number, read the script, and then when you're done making your calls, fill out that report back form that will be in the chat. And of course, if we're here to support you, if you need any help or have any questions during tonight's action, just drop in that Q&A box, and one of our staff is standing by to give you a hand. So again, we invite everyone to make calls since we're to take a little bit of the pressure off. We're after hours, and so you'll be leaving messages. So we're flooding their inbox with all these messages. And in addition, and all of the execs, you'll hear their name in the in their voicemail, except for Susan Whaley, just her number, but the voicemail, we have verified it and it does work. And each call should take about 30 seconds. And it might, if you get a busy signal, it's just because we're all calling the numbers at the same time. So just hang in there and keep dialing. And to kick it off, we'll have folks in the first half of the alphabet start at the top with Jennifer Davis. So that's A through N. And then if your name starts with O through Z, the second half of the alphabet, you'll start with Damon Jones and then just work your way backwards. All right, so I think that was the main highlights. You'll have 3 minutes to complete your calls. And to demonstrate, I'm going to just do a quick model call right now to Jennifer Davis to kick it off. It's ringing. It's a good sign.
You've reached the voicemail of Jen Davis. I can't take your call at this time, so please leave your name and number, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, this is Ethan from Minneapolis, and I'm calling to demand that Procter & Gamble stop destroying rainforests and abusing human rights. As an executive, you have the power to cut ties to Royal Golden Eagle and other dirty suppliers directly threatening people and the planet. I urge you to take immediate action to address these risks in your supply chain. Thank you. Bang. All right. Just that simple. So again, encourage everyone to participate as you're able. And I'm already seeing some of it happen in the chat. As you're calling, if you just want to shout out encouragement or any other feedback like that, feel free to drop it in the chat. And then again, after you've made all 4 of those calls, you can fill out that form that Emily just put in the chat there and just let us know how it went. So now it is your turn. I'll go on mute. We'll have 3 minutes to make your calls, which should be enough, more than enough time. And I'll be on mute making my calls, and we'll have some music in the background. All right, happy calling. See you in 3 minutes.
All right, lots of great feedback coming into the chat box. Hope everyone's calls went well or been going well. And yeah, let's just hear back from, how did your call go, Sarmisha?
I actually ended up receiving both the busy signal and the mailbox full signal. So I didn't get to make a call, but I'm super excited that our action worked.
What about you, Danielle?
I left lots of messages to Mr. Damon Jones. He's gonna get tired, like, Danielle again.
Me as well. I got through and left a message with Monica. So, and we'll keep calling. What about you, Ethan? You left the first one, but how did the rest of them go?
Yeah, I was also able to leave a message with Ms. Davis and Ms. Turner. And also, I just love seeing in the chat everyone saying, oh, the inbox is full, like we flooded it, or the signal is busy. So I can just imagine them arriving to the office tomorrow morning and just seeing their voicemail just overloaded with people concerned for their climate change record.
Exactly. Well, yeah, everyone. So yes, we know it's out after hours at their headquarters, but RAND never stops applying pressure no matter what time of the day it is. And so please continue to make calls tomorrow as well. And also pass this information on to other folks, because it really does take all of our collected efforts to take on some of these massive multinational corporations like Procter & Gamble, who really are driving deforestation and contributing to some egregious climate impacts that we're seeing on the ground, like we saw from our partners in Indonesia, who sent that really powerful message to the shareholder meeting last week in Cincinnati. And that's something that RAND does consistently with all of our campaigns, as we run really bold, creative actions. We do a lot of different tactics to put pressure on the biggest banks, the biggest insurance companies, and the biggest brands out there, because we all know that in order to keep forests standing and keep fossil fuels in the ground, it's really going to take all of us. And so these are the type of tactics that we love doing at Rainforest Action Network. And we really appreciate everyone participating in this action today. And we know the work will continue. And that's why it takes all of us and all the staff at RAND, all of our collective efforts to challenge corporate power. And so we really thank everyone for joining us, for joining this virtual rally as we continue to put on the pressure and we continue to put the spotlight on some of the biggest, corporate targets in the world. And we thank everyone who participated in this action, as well as all of our board members who support us at RAND, in addition to all of our supporters and donors all around the world who really are trying to uphold our climate and also empower people everywhere to take this, collective action. So keep dropping stuff in the chat. We'd love to hear these report backs. Also spread this information wide and far across your networks, because it really is going to take all of us for the people and the planet. Thanks everyone for joining us today.